My name is Jack Morgan, and if you'd asked me a year ago what I feared most, I'd probably have said the dark or maybe flying cockroaches. That was before I met Dr. Evelyn Hart. Now, I can't close my eyes without seeing the haunting faces of beasts that once ruled our Earth. Monsters I'm grateful are extinct, even though some might say they never should have been known at all. It all started when I took a documentary assignment that I thought would be a boring paycheck. I worked as a videographer for an independent science channel on YouTube. They asked me to join a team traveling to the Smithsonian's underground archives in D.C., filming ancient fossils and unusual specimens for a new series called Creatures of the Past. The project sounded easy enough. Film a few dusty bones, throw in some creepy music, and boom, millions of views. That was the plan until Dr. Hart showed us the vault. She was tall, with sharp features and calm, intelligent eyes. "You're not just going to be filming bones," she said as she led us down a reinforced hallway. "You'll be seeing creatures that blur the line between reality and nightmare. Some of what you'll find here isn't even on public record." Naturally, we were intrigued. Myself, reporter Hannah Wells, and sound engineer Chris Dugan followed her through massive steel doors, into a dim, refrigerated chamber that smelled like damp stone and secrets. That's when we saw it, the first specimen. "It's called the Titanoboa," Dr. Hart said, pointing at a full-scale replica of a snake so large it wrapped around an entire display case. 48 feet long, over 2,000 pounds. Lived around 60 million years ago. Think about it. An anaconda on steroids, capable of crushing a full-grown crocodile like a soda can. I backed away instinctively. The model was terrifyingly lifelike. As she described how the Titanoboa would silently stalk prey in murky waters, I could practically hear the slither behind me. "That thing could have swallowed a human whole," Chris muttered, adjusting his mic boom like it might protect him. We moved deeper into the archive and things only got worse. Dr. Hart stopped in front of a dark tank, inside which floated a preserved mass that looked like a half-rotten manta ray with spikes. "This," she said, "is Helicoprion, a prehistoric shark with a spiral saw of teeth inside its lower jaw." Scientists thought it was a hoax until they found intact fossils in Idaho. Hannah asked how it hunted. "It would lunge, and that spiral would rotate like a buzz saw, grinding flesh and bone." I glanced at the thing's open mouth and felt an urge to gag. That wasn't a fish. That was a meat processor designed by a lunatic. By the third day of filming, the vault had taken its toll. We slept in the Smithsonian's guest quarters, and each of us started having strange dreams, of being chased, swallowed, or pecked at by creatures we'd never seen before. At breakfast, Chris said he dreamed of being lifted into the air by a bird larger than a plane. Dr. Hart was quick to guess what he saw. "Argentavis magnificens," she said with a grim smile. "Wingspan of 24 feet. Could lift small mammals into the sky and drop them to break their bones." "Why would nature allow that to exist?" Hannah asked, visibly disturbed. "Because back then," Hart replied, "Earth was crueler. And creatures had to be crueler still to survive." She wasn't kidding. That day we saw the fossilized remains of the Pulmonoscorpius, a 6-foot-long land scorpion with venomous pincers. Then came the Andrewsarchus, a boar-like predator with jaws so wide it could crush the skull of a horse in a single bite. We even saw the Megalania, a giant lizard from Australia, estimated to be over 20 feet long, whose venomous saliva alone could incapacitate prey. But the worst was yet to come. On the last day of filming, Dr. Hart took us to a section of the archive sealed behind a biometric lock. "What you're about to see," she warned, "is classified. The species in here were kept hidden from the public to prevent panic and sensationalism. We're showing you because people need to understand how lucky we are." She opened the door and the air changed. It was colder, denser, almost like walking into a crypt. The first specimen we saw was a strange, skeletal creature mounted upright. It had claws longer than my forearms and jaws that curved inward like hooks. "Therizinosaurus," Hart whispered. "It looks like a herbivore, but scientists believe it may have used its claws for more than just slicing plants." There are fossilized remains of smaller animals torn to pieces near its nesting grounds. Think of a nightmare sloth that could eviscerate you for getting too close. Chris turned pale. Then came the Quetzalcoatlus. Mounted from the ceiling, the winged beast looked like something from a Godzilla movie. With its long beak and towering wingspan, it seemed ready to swoop down and impale someone. It stood taller than a giraffe when grounded, Hart said, and it likely hunted in packs. Packs? Yes. You mean there was more than one flying at a time? Oh, dozens, she said. They could turn the sky black when hunting. That was the first time I genuinely considered quitting the project. But something about the horror kept me riveted. Like we were uncovering monsters from forgotten myths. Only they were real. The final exhibit was hidden beneath a heavy tarp. Dr. Hart hesitated before pulling it off. This was discovered in Siberia. We're not entirely sure it belongs to any known genus. But we call it the red howler. The name alone sent chills through me. When the tarp fell, what we saw defied logic. It was like a cross between a bear and a saber-toothed tiger, but taller, with elongated limbs and reddish fur matted across decomposing skin. Its jaw was permanently open, revealing rows of jagged teeth. But its most disturbing feature was the eyes, or where the eyes had once been. Hollow sockets surrounded by fractured bone, as if the creature had clawed out its own vision. This creature appears in ancient cave drawings, Hart explained. Tribes feared it. Some claimed it didn't kill to eat but to silence, as if its howls could drive people mad. Fossil analysis shows it may have used infrasonic frequencies to paralyze prey, like sound-based hunting. I stepped back. Like a biological weapon. Exactly. We left the archive shaken. That night none of us could sleep. Chris said he heard a distant howl from the basement. Hannah swore she saw movement in the hallway mirror. I heard breathing behind my shoulder while brushing my teeth, only to find the bathroom empty. We left the Smithsonian the next morning. I was never more relieved to see sunlight. The footage we captured was eventually edited into a sanitized version. The network made us cut several species, especially the red howler. They said it was too disturbing, might violate platform guidelines or trigger panic. But the nightmares haven't stopped. I still dream of ancient forests, of colossal shadows moving between trees, of screams that shatter the air. Dr. Hart quit the institute shortly after and moved to an off-grid cabin in Montana. She emailed once saying, "Some things from the past don't stay buried." The echo. I sometimes wonder, if these creatures existed once, could something like them still be hiding in uncharted places? In the depths of the oceans, or the forgotten jungles of the Amazon? All I know is, the Earth has been home to terrors far beyond what our imaginations could conjure. Beasts with impossible teeth,